This is tremendous.
Wow.
Track number 2 off my last album, Twilight Driving, and that's vibin'. And y'all got to check that out on my website, davismusicpro.com, if you want to get yourself a copy. And now, without further ado, let me get this set up. I got a special guest for y'all, my man, Anthony Beitling, and I'm really sorry if I mispronounced your last name, man, but how do you say your last name, bro?
It's Beitling, but you're all good. It's that's been consistent. Like it's an odd one, but
Beitling.
No,
Anthony
yeah,
Beitling, everybody.
No, thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you for being here. How are you doing today?
Not too bad. Just got off work and just gonna have a good day.
Hell yeah, dude. Is this your first podcast ever?
I tried out my own a while ago. It didn't work out. So this is I'd say this is probably considered my first time.
Well, no, that's okay. If you had look, this is no big deal either, you know what I mean? To me, it started out as just practice, and I was like, nobody's ever going to listen to this. And now I probably got like 12 listeners, and I really work hard for those guys because, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's all just practice. So, if we say something off the cuff, it's all good. Anything real quick while we're at the beginning, promote anything you want, anything you working on, or any place you our fans can find your music. Where should they go?
Right now, I don't have any stuff released at the moment. I plan on having it released on Bandcamp, but I am in the middle of working on a solo EP titled Unholy Cannoli. But I'll have more on that hopefully here within the next few months. Oh man, this keeps dropping on me.
No, that's okay.
But no, yeah, that's really early stages right now, but hopefully soon.
As long as we're working on something and you got some goals for yourself, dude.
Oh yeah.
What more can anyone ask you, dude? But okay, let's hop into some of these questions because I got a bunch of stuff for us today.
All right.
Let's see. I should have brought my reading glasses. As my viewers know, I can't read my own handwriting.
All right. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
So how long have you been playing? And he's a bassist, everybody. How long have you been playing bass?
I have been playing bass, I believe, for 11 to 12 years now.
Oh my God.
Yeah. About half my life. Yeah.
That's about where I'm at too. I think of it that way too. Like half my freaking life has been spent with an instrument in my hands.
Yeah. I honestly wouldn't. Right. I wouldn't have it any other way other than earlier, of course. Like of course, I'm sure you're familiar with the correlation of learning music along with the English or whatever language you speak. It tends to stick a little bit easier, but at the same time, we're all just working on it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, dude. What age do you think you picked it up?
I'm almost certain it was by 12 at the latest. But I want to say around 11 or 12. Yeah.
That's awesome. For me, I can never remember like what age I was in grade school, like but like it was 8th grade for me. For sure. And I remember buying my first guitar off of Craigslist. And it was just listed as Les Paul. No brand name on it and like no pictures, but it was like all the money I had was like it was the right amount. I was like, "Oh, Dad, I really need a Les Paul. Can you go with me? We'll go pick it up." And he's like, "There's no way it's a Gibson for $200." But in my mind, I was like, "That."
You're like, it could be, yeah.
And then it was all over from there. And I like when I was in high school, I was addicted to buying guitars.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolute money pit, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really glad I didn't really get into classic cars. I got my Volkswagen, and that's all I needed, like classic cars. Because otherwise, my wife would hate me.
Those are like the two hobbies. It's like you have to pick one or the other because man, you go into dead easy doing both of those, let alone one. Yeah.
Yeah. Or you got to look at it the other way. You got to really work hard if you're going to have that hobby. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true.
But it's all a matter of perspective. How many basses do you think you've owned at this point in your life?
Um, upwards of 8. Right now I'm kind of in a trifecta. I'm rotating between a 1983 Fender P bass, 2013 Fender J bass, and then I just got my hands on a what is it actually? Oh yeah, 5-string Music Man Stingray, just to kind of try out the 5-string bit. But man, I've had a Rickenbacker, 4003. That thing was a beast. But I personally, I just found like the neck was a little bit too beefy for me, which I mean says a lot considering I play a P bass too, and they don't have the reputation of being slender. But I mean, my first bass was just a cheap little Ibanez GR 200, I think is what the model is called. I mean, it's pretty much what you see every beginner bass player play. But I mean, that thing served its purpose, and everything in between there and now.
Hey, you can't go wrong with an Ibanez, you know.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Sure.
I've had my share, and I still got one. And then Kelly's bass is an Ibanez too.
She has that newer one that kind of has that like kind of larger horn on the top end, right? I can't remember what that model's called.
It's almost like it's kind of like a jazz bass. The thing I really like about it, it's active pickups, and they're fucking great. I'm not quite 10 minutes in. Okay, at the first 10 minutes of the podcast is supposed to be our Real Catholic Boy hour, where we don't curse so we don't get demonetized. And I was 20 seconds away, people. Gosh. God damn it. All right. Well, I was trying to think through the number of guitars I've had in my life too. That's why I ask. And honestly, I think I'm forgetting about a few because literally like a week ago, I saw a picture of a guitar on Reverb and I was like, whoa, I had that. And that dude's selling it for 3 times as much as I sold it for. And I was like, shit. Mm-hmm. But I didn't ever take that into account. Yeah, you hate to see it. You're like, The worst part is I sold that guitar at a McDonald's.
Really?
It was terrible for like $300.
God.
Like I said, I've been through a lot of guitars, and I think the last count I did was 32.
Wow.
And again, we might be forgetting about 1 or 2.
Man. Yeah, I don't think I'm quite up
it's
up
ridiculous.
There,
don't let it get that ridiculous, dude. That's why I'm warning you. You know what I mean?
See, the thing is though, is that what I lack in my guitars I make up for with pedals.
Absolutely.
So I have been through a countless amount of pedals, but no, that's part of the journey though. I feel like is just, because you got so much to play with. The feel of a guitar alone, guitar or bass. Just something as simple as the neck being radiused a slightly different way. Mm-hmm. I feel like has a world of difference in terms of what it inspires you to make out of it.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I still have like 9 guitars at this point, because every one is like I use for a different genre or mm-hmm. a different feel, like you're saying. Like specifically, the only guitar I have in here that I can show off right now is my Fender. It's actually not a Fender. It's a parts caster that I built. Actually, when it started its life, it was my old drummer's guitar, and it was Sunburst. and I sanded
Oh,
all of the sunburst off and then hit it with this sweet maple finish. I'm debating. I have been looking at these stickers that were on Jerry Garcia's natural Fender Strat. Like there's an alligator that goes here, and then there's a policeman helper sticker. I'm really considering getting it to add just like the final touches to it, but I don't know.
yeah, that's one thing I've always wanted to do, but
Yeah,
going to
not while you're
going
still in an apartment. You know what I mean? Like once you
exactly.
have a shed or something to work in, that's when you make your parts caster that you'll never sell. You know?
Yeah, yeah. Because like, I mean, I can tell you, I got some. I mean, even just sticker bombing my pit guard of my Rickenbacker. I got some weird looks going to open jam nights with like the old head dudes. They're like, "What did you do to that thing?"
Why? Yeah, why'd you do that?
Like, like,
Why
man.
would you?
But
But
no, that yeah.
okay, a couple other things. What made you fall in love with the bass?
Oh man. I think the first time I can think of specifically picking out the bass in a song and being like, wow, I want to do that. As cringy as it is, I'm almost certain it was like three Green Day songs.
That's
Um,
okay.
but I mean, I still I don't listen to him nearly as much, but I still have a soft spot in my heart for him. But like Mike Dirnt, uh, I think it was just because they were like one of the first three-piece bands I'd listened to, so that you kind of get the more prominent bass sound, and you're like, oh wow,
Yeah.
that sounds cool. But um, I remember starting out learning Holiday. The first time I got my bass, I think it was a Christmas present actually, and like all that night, like I knew I was getting it. Uh, Nobody could do anything to keep me from opening it prematurely, and like all that night I just practiced Holiday, like just straight through the night. But
That's awesome. What a great Christmas present too. That's tight.
yeah, yeah.
Um, let's see. What are some of your favorite bands and bassists and/or bassists? You know,
um I
and you can give
God,
me like a top three or top five. You know what I mean? You don't have to pick your favorite. I make it easy for y'all.
yeah, I would say in terms of bass players, um I definitely have to put my uh the ones that inspired me to get to the sound that I currently have first. I'd say first is probably Joe Dart of Wolfpack, but I
Awesome.
mean he's so many people's favorite bass player, so that's a given. But I'd say second is probably Al Cisneros of Sleep and Ohm. Uh, he's kind of like more of like the doom sludge kind of aspect, which I've been kind of leaning towards this past year and a half, 2 years or so. That's been that's been a wild ride with pedals alone. But uh, I'd say third is probably Jesse Keeler of Death from Above. Those guys, yeah, they're a two piece. Uh, so that talking from Green Day, where you get the more prominent bass, I mean, it's all bass and drums. So of course, who wouldn't love that?
Right. That's awesome, dude. I love hearing about the musicians that inspire me. You know what I mean? So
Oh
like
yeah.
that's awesome. How would you describe your tonality or your music in general, either or both? You know.
So that varies a little bit by every day, just on how I'm feeling. But
Yeah.
so whenever I'm trying to go for the more funk, low volume fusion type stuff, uh, I feel like I definitely try to emulate Joe Dart in a sense. Also, kind of catering to like the James Jamerson school, kind of like maybe like Michael League of Snarky Puppy.
Yeah.
Just kind of like that sort of really fusion type rhythmic
Funk
feel.
jazz meets odd
Yeah,
time signatures and
Yeah.
Odd atmospheres.
Yeah. Um, I'd say into like a funk setting. That's what I'm sounding similar to. In terms of like rock and metal, or like the doom, like I was talking about, I definitely try and get as spitty and wild as I can in terms of my tones. So, I mean, I've got the gain on my amp cranked up all the way. I've got my rad on. I've got my overdrive on,
We're blowing
and
speakers.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Thank God, my cab is 200 watts more than my head. So, because yeah, it needs the headroom, but um, definitely, I would say probably tone wise, I try to go closer to Dixie from uh, Weed Eater,
Okay.
like really just super full throttle spitty type stuff.
I can tell you're gonna have some good albums for the album of the week. So
Oh
start
yeah, oh yeah.
start thinking of like a couple now, because we'll get there in like 20 or 30 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
But let's see. What else do I got for you, brother? What drives you to create? It's a good question.
That is a good question.
Like, what really pushes you to make goals for yourself and work on your music? You know what I mean?
I really, I would say a lot of what I used to think would be like destination rather than the journey, but anymore I really think it's more the journey than the destination. So
Yeah. Personal
while it's
satisfaction, you know?
yeah, while it's definitely good to have goals in what you love, like I would like to of course be in a successful band, make some money off of music, but if I don't, that's okay. Uh, but I think it's more just the experience of developing tone and skill, um, and kind of fine tuning my playing to the point where I think, like, hey, this is pretty good, and then still
Mm-hmm.
go, of course, go past that point,
Yeah.
because
Yeah, because we're always
being a
learning. We never stop.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah, but yeah, I would say just the acquisition of knowledge and skill is what drives me.
Oh, this is tremendous. 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 This is tremendous.
Yeah, dude. It is tremendous, bro. And you know what, man? I think I'm like in a similar place with music as you are, that rather than, oh, I'm dreaming and aspiring to be in a big band touring and all this stuff, I'm really still just creating. And especially that last album I just released was all just personal satisfaction, dude, to keep myself accountable, to keep myself, we all leave this world and have to put our own like little stamp on it to say that we were here. So I just hold myself accountable to releasing something every year. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that's why I think the music on that one was so good, is just because I was writing it for me and not for anybody else, and I was writing music that I would enjoy and that I can sit down and listen to a million times and still will.
Oh
Honestly,
yeah.
that's gonna be my. I'm gonna have that CD in my car when I go down to the lake, dude. That's that's my lake
Yeah,
time
dude. That
music.
yeah, that God. Yeah, that I could definitely hear that in that album for sure. But yeah, just it being able to enjoy your your product yourself, um, and of course the process in making it. That's that's priceless.
You know what's really priceless, dude? Is
What?
Friendly Farms iced coffee.
Mm.
Normally on the podcast, I got a cup of coffee and I'm sipping it. I just want to mention this once today, that I haven't done the dishes. We were out of clean coffee cups, so we're jugging it today on the podcast, everybody. Thank you, Friendly Farms. We need you to sponsor the podcast, because I get like 3 of these when I go to the store, dude. It's ridiculous.
I think I've had some of that before, and honestly, that's a solid coffee for being
Aldi's,
for being
dude.
pre-mixed. Oh yeah.
Aldi's, bro. Shout out Aldi's. Would also take a mad Aldi's sponsorship. That would, cut it. Cut this. Send it to our ad guy. Okay. I'm sorry. I keep getting sidetracked. You know how it is. Smoke 'em.
No, you're good. You're good, dude. You're good.
What are a couple of the best concerts you've been to? And if you got one, what's the craziest concert memory you got?
Oh man, I'd say that's a tough one for top concert, but I would definitely say it's between Primus on their Desaturated 7 tour.
Oh, God.
I think that was like 2 or 3 years ago in Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anybody who's been to a Primus concert knows like they blow the roof off the place easily. I mean, it was an outside concert, and I want to say that it was like still probably the one that had my ears ringing the most afterwards too, which I mean, I know it kind of goes in conjunction with level going up if you're outside, but at the same time, I know I've been to some concerts where it's pretty hectic and it's like a few hundred square feet room, but yeah, so Primus was sick. Also, I would say 68 in Springfield. 68 is a 2-piece rock band. And they're definitely coming up. I don't know a lot of people that know them. So they're still a little bit niche, I feel like, but they're sick.
That's okay. Well, if it's sick, it's sick, dude. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so definitely 68. Man, who else have I seen? Chicago was weird.
You saw Chicago?
Chicago was weird. Mainly because they were playing all love songs and I went with my dad. But so it was like, yeah, this is great music, but
hey man, they have their niche too, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely not one you want to take your dad to, but
that's okay. I can get down to some Saturday in the park.
Yeah, no, they were cool. I did see Sleep. I did see Sleep just about 2 years ago in Nebraska. Man, you're going to talk about loud. God, those guys.
Is that what you live for in a concert? Is loud? Just
pretty much.
Volume
oh yeah,
level? Yeah.
I'm a tone junkie, so like especially Sleep. Getting to hear Al. He has probably like one of the most distinct bass tones I would say, and just being able to hear that firsthand and like vibrate through my body was like an otherworldly experience. Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Got a couple more things, and then we might, if you're down, do like an actual episode of, like, I'd normally say some tips for my listeners, so if you're down, maybe we'll run through a couple of those segments at the end if you're down.
Hell yeah.
Okay. When you're getting down, when you're having a tough day, what do you listen to pull yourself out of it? Are you one of those? Okay, here, we'll start with this question. When you're going through a tough time, are you one of those people that listens to sad music to delve into that emotion and sort it out, or listens to happy music to try to pull yourself out?
I would say if either, I cater more towards the former. Okay. I don't really that much though. Mm-hmm. But if I do, it's
yeah, when you're a stable, functioning human being, you don't have that many bad days.
Yeah.
That's what I've been finding out. That's kind of nice.
I try. Definitely. I mean, just like everybody else, I've got, everybody's got their shit. But recently, at least, I don't know why, because I wouldn't consider it necessarily sad or like feely music at all. But Pelican has bbeen one of those that, like, if I'm on my way to work and I'm just like, I do not want to go in today, I'll listen to Pelican, and it's like you just feel okay. Like, yeah. But yeah, it's just, I mean, that's another one of those where it's just drone metal. Like it's just sounds and like really tone. Like it's got
Yeah.
great tone. But,
You're a tone junkie. It's awesome, dude.
yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, I would say Pelican's been there for me a lot recently.
Okay.
But
Okay. That's a great answer, dude. I'm gonna have to go back and re-listen to this episode and write down all these bands we're talking about, dude. 'Cause seriously, it's gonna be great.
yeah, 10 out of 10 would recommend.
And what's the name of your upcoming album and the best way to find your music eventually? Or currently,
So
people should go check out. You should tell them about your Facebook. You should tell them about your Instagram. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Don't
So
don't be stingy.
yeah. So eventually, I've got my solo EP coming out, titled Unholy Cannoli.
That's
But yeah,
metal as
that one's that one is going to be pretty reflecting on the common theme I've been addressing, where it's going to be kind of just drony tone catering metal type stuff, really easy listening type stuff. Like you said, it's something that I would probably want to listen to over and over and be like, man, I nailed that tone.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I've got that coming out hopefully here within the next couple of months. Of course, like you said, you can find I do like cover videos and stuff on my Facebook and Instagram. Facebook at just Anthony Beitling, and then my Instagram is gnarls_radman.
That's awesome.
But I'm also going by that for my my solo album too, instead of just my legal name. I figured I'd be a little bit spicy.
So
with
what
it.
was that again? It's Gnarls Bradley.
Gnarls Radman, or as in Radman.
Yeah, hell yeah, Gnarls Radman.
But, yeah,
that would go great on a sweatshirt. I'm sure you and Katie could come up with some dope art for that. So
yeah,
it's never too early to start the merch train.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, thank you again for coming on, brother.
No, thanks for having me, man.
This has been tremendous.
Oh, this is tremendous. Tremendous.
This is like my favorite
Tremendous. This is tremendous.
That's why I keep going to it. Let's do
this is
couple tips for surviving the week, man. And let me re-explain this just for our guests. Tips for surviving the week is like catering to everybody, because think about waking up on a Monday and going to work, and you don't necessarily want to fucking do that. What are some of the things that you do to survive that and or put yourself in a good mood? And you already said tip number 1 this week: if you're struggling going to work, listen to Pelican.
Yeah,
that might do it, bro.
Man, that's really the big thing is it's just, I mean, no matter how much I don't want to go to work, unfortunately we live in a world where it's like, we got to make money. I mean, to do the things we love. In my case, of course, to fund my pedal addiction, I've got to make a lot more money than I would otherwise. But I mean, just getting all your affairs taken care of so you can be relatively stress-free, because worrying about bills and all that, nobody wants to worry about bills.
No.
But
it's pretty tough in these trying times. A lot of people.
Oh yeah.
You never really know what somebody else is going through when you see somebody on the street, dude. Somebody
who
looks like they are well off and could be middle-class soccer mom might really be hit hard by the, who knows? You never know. Which is why I say to everybody, a great tip for surviving the week, this be tip number 2, guys, is just be nice to everybody you meet, okay? Within reason. Obviously, if somebody's grumpy or somebody's being, mean, brush it off, don't confront, and keep, go on, There's no reason to be mean back, though, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's just going to feed into it, and they'll probably be even more of a dick to the next guy. Like, what are you doing? And then tip number 3 this week for surviving the week, make sure you're calling your Goombas, dude. And your Goombas, are those people that got your back, those people that ultimately care about you, that ultimately got your best interest at heart, want to see you succeed, man. So give like 2 to 3 of your like closest Goombas a call this week. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, bro, you got it. And like, I try not to call and bug the same people every week, so I've been trying to switch it up and make sure I'm calling 2 or 3 different people every week, just to make sure because you never, like I said, you never know what anybody else is going through. So like, your friends' lives are constantly changing, your family's lives are constantly changing. And I mean, Facebook does only so much of a job at really telling us what the fuck's going on, In fact, It does a lot to mislead us in knowing what the fuck is going on. So like, call in. It's the best way to really check. And that way they know you're their Goomba, You got their best interest too,
Absolutely.
You got any more tips for surviving the week, brother?
And I really like that last one.
Thank you.
God. I mean, yeah, just overall, I mean, I try to remember to an extent, not like not going overboard and spending too much money or anything like that, but just taking care of yourself too, like taking that little bit of extra time to moisturize, take your vitamins, drink a lot of water. Yeah,
and be good to yourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's what Anthony's over here saying. Treat yourself well, dude. And also know your limits. Know when you're try to figure out when you're taking on way too much. And if you are, I'm not saying don't do that for a day or two, but like, know your breaking points. Try to give yourself a little, leeway before the breaking points, obviously. Okay?
Absolutely.
It's easier said than done, though, If y'all are still listening to this podcast, I know y'all are savages. So, like, I know y'all got this shit. Keep being savages, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's one of my faves, dude. All right. Just a warning, there's going to be some air horns. That's all for our tips for surviving the week segment. Moving on, we got tips for our musicians and music lovers, bro. And every week we have the same number one tip, which I want to see what your reaction is to it. Tip number 1 for surviving the week. What is it, people? It's keep practicing. And I say 20 to 30 minutes a day, 3 to 4 times a week. Okay? If we keep doing that with any skill we're trying to get at, whether it's a instrument, whether it's singing, whether it's welding, nursing, social security, whatever it is you're trying to get better at, hedge funds, Bitcoin, well, okay. Whatever you're trying to get better at, you got to like practice. So 20 to 30 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week. That's the minimum. And if you sit down with the idea that you're going to practice for 20 minutes, you're probably going to end up practicing for 40 minutes because you enjoy it. If you enjoy your instrument, you know what I mean? So.
Oh, yeah.
You got any tips for musicians, brother?
Oh, man. Actually, I been introduced or reintroduced to a pretty good tip just these last couple of days, keeping up with Scott's bass lessons. That's probably like my main source for trying to make myself a good route for keeping on my toes with practicing. But something he was talking about just these last couple of days is in regards to quitting and receiving bad feedback. Like, because I mean, as musicians, we all encounter those situations where somebody doesn't like what we're doing, especially in a setting where we're collaborating or playing for somebody.
Yeah.
But I mean, you just got to kind of learn to take it and run with it. Like that's part of being a musician.
Not everybody's going to like it, but
yeah,
to be fair,
ultimately it's going to help you out
for everybody. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So people are going to have their opinions, but they're no less valid than your opinion. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard some
Absolutely.
garbaggio music that everybody loves. And I've heard some tremendous music that everybody hates. So
Mm-hmm.
like, you take from music what you want to. You know what I mean?
Oh
And
yeah.
don't take in people's opinions, but don't let them, bring you down. Look at it as a
Yeah.
helpful critique.
It's all a learning experience.
Yeah. But okay, one more tip for musicians. Let's do okay, if you're a guitarist or bassist, I heard this tip the other day, and it's like the perfect way to explain something that I've been trying to get across to some of my students lately. That when you're holding the neck, okay, if you're left-handed, okay, and I'm using this hand, right, on my fretboard, you want your thumb to be lined up right behind your first finger, no matter where you are on the neck. If you're up here, you want your thumb to be lined up with your first finger. Up here, you want it to be lined. That way, you can use your thumb as a clamp, almost like a pliers, okay? And that way, you're actually creating more pressure on the note, and your tone's going to get better, okay? So that's just a tip. Make sure that your thumb stays lined up with your first finger when you're trying to play guitar on the fretboard. That's great. That totally, like, by explaining that to a student, I totally changed how they were playing. And it was totally awesome to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. Actually, it's funny you mentioned that because actually just recently, within like the past couple of months or so, I've seen some stuff on that too, where it's like the smallest stuff. Even us people that have been playing for over a decade now, like we don't think about it. And
yeah, and you get
I mean,
a little
granted, it was an
sloppy,
admire,
but you do just a tiny little thing to adjust your technique. All of a sudden, you're going to be riffing harder and better than ever,
Yeah,
Just
makes a
by
world of
focusing.
difference.
I think the most important thing with playing like a fretboard instrument is understanding and utilizing the best fingerings, okay? To conserve motion, because when we conserve motion, we play faster. You know what I mean? But if you're using the right fingers on your scales, and if you know your scales, then those scales kind of just happen when you're playing through lead lines. And you'll end up using the right fingers. So all of a sudden you can keep up with every measure of Cliffs of Dover while it's playing through. It happens. But that's why we got to practice 20 to 30 minutes 3 to 4 times a week, bro. That's what it's all about.
Hell yeah.
And don't be afraid to take risks. And if you haven't picked up an instrument and you're listening to this and you're like, these Joe Schmoes are playing music. I mean, Anthony's a classy individual, but look at, this guy's over here being a successful musician. What? I could pick up an instrument. That's all it takes to be a musician, is telling yourself you could do it, I mean, obviously, time, practice, but that initial, I could do that, is all it really takes, So tell yourself you can do it. That's where the motivation comes from. And that's all for our tips for musicians and music lovers.
Oh yeah.
Give me like 2 or 3 of your favorite albums of all time for our albums of the week segment.
Oh man. Okay. Let me see here. I would say my top album, because it is the introduction to my voicing for my like adaptation for the Joe Dart feel. Definitely Mitpeck by Wolfpack, their first album released in 2011. That one, yeah, dude. That Beastly was the first song I'd ever heard by them back in 2011, and man, yeah, that sent me on a world of discovery. I would say, and this is actually a recent discovery, but I would say number 2 is probably Deep, the Baritone Sessions by Mark Lettieri. That's like a fusion funk, really synthy heavy, like almost like a rock influenced fusion funk. I've just started listening to these past couple of weeks, and man, these guys are something else. I mean, I think 4 of them are from Snarky Puppies, so you can definitely be assured that there's a lot of talent in the group. But yeah, those guys are rocking for sure. And then, man, number 3.
All solid picks so far. Love Wolfpack too.
God, yeah, those guys are crazy. I just love their personalities too. But let me see here. I would say number 3 for my top album picks. I'm gonna have to go with "Outrageous Now" by Death from Above.
Okay.
That one, I would say that was also another one that sparked a different sort of stylistic journey of mine on bass. Some really, really cool stuff on there. Really, really catchy stuff too, while still being pretty shreddy.
Mm-hmm. That's the best, when it's both like catchy and intellectual. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Makes you think.
Oh yeah. Caters to both crowds.
Well, awesome, bro. All solid picks for our Album of the Week segment. Thank you, Anthony. You've been freaking tremendous, dude.
Thank you.
Couple of my favorite bassists. Obviously, you got to throw Geddy Lee in there, dude. You got it. But then Victor Wooten.
Mm-hmm.
And Phil Lesh. My top 3 favorite bassists. Phil Lesh is the bassist for the Grateful Dead.
Okay, I was about to say I was gonna say. I mean, I'm kind of embarrassed, but I don't think I've ever heard of Phil Lesh. But I'll
Phil Lesh, Phil. Sorry, but
okay.
Yeah, you got it. But tremendous, dude. Dude, thank you so much for being here and doing this episode with me. This has been truly tremendous. If anybody is still listening, man, you guys are truly tremendous, bro. And I hope everybody has a splendid and awesome week and weekend. I'm going to the lake. You know what I'm saying? Finally get a nice weekend off. Let's see. I'm trying to think of any other news I need to throw out there. Yeah, just released that newest album Monday night, so it's up on davismusicpro.com right now for y'all to download. I just talked to the first person who bought it to make sure that the downloads are going over well and everything's hooked up. So everybody, it's all good and everything's good to go. So find it on davismusicpro.com. That's Twilight Driving by Chris Hippie Davis. Stay on the lookout for Anthony's next album that's coming out again. What's it called again, brother?
Unholy Cannoli.
Unholy Cannoli, dude. That's awesome, bro. And I remember you shot out image of what you were thinking of for the album cover, and I just remember loving it. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a. It's funny. I literally just had like messed around with that and made that little like sort of like satanic cannoli looking like guy, and I was like, this would be great. Yeah.
Tremendous, dude. Well, I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you again for being on here, brother. I'll send
Absolutely.
you all
Thanks
the
for
links.
having me, man.
I'll send you all the links as soon as it's posted. Again, stay on the lookout for my man Anthony Beitling, bro. And you can find him on Facebook, Instagram, and stay on the lookout for his next album, Unholy Cannoli, bro. Let's get that good music and motivation outro music for us. Shout out again to Anthony Beitling for being a true savage. Let's go. Where is it at? I gotta be able to read. Oh my gosh, people, I'm so sorry. I lost it. It's gone. Where'd my sound effects go? We're still recording. Hold on. Oh my gosh. Where the hell did it go? There we go, guys. Mad love and respect.
It's tremendous. 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 Tremendous.
Smoke if you got 'em.